Hi guys, thanks for coming to my next video. I wanted to share a dream that I had on January the 7th, 2017. And for those of you that like numbers, that's an interesting date, 1717. But I had this dream on January the 7th and today being the 17th, 10 days later, and I had not shared this dream as of yet. Truthfully, I didn't feel led to share it. I didn't feel like I was released to share it right away, and it was actually a good thing that I had not shared it, simply because the understanding and meaning of some of the symbolism in this dream and what some of the things meant in this dream have been evolving as the Lord has been given little nuggets of information. And you know, sometimes when you're looking at symbolism in a dream, it can mean more than one thing. Sometimes scripture will give you a little bit more understanding on things. And so anyway, truthfully, this dream is still evolving. And I'm not even quite sure we have all of the understanding about the symbolism as it is now. But I would like to go ahead and share it, is because I think the dream is significant. I think it's trying to tell us some information, and hopefully it can confirm some things with other folks. So what you have in front of you is just a hand sketch that I did. Guys, again, I apologize. I am not an artist, but I definitely wanted to give you all a visual of what was in my mind's eye of this dream, so that when I'm going through explaining it, you can follow along with me maybe a little bit easier. So I'm thinking what I'd like to do is I made notes about the dream. I actually typed it up the very next morning after having it. I'd like to go ahead and read that to you. I was provided two interpretations for this dream. Stephanie and Lou, thank you all so very much for your time on that. I think both of these ladies and myself also know that because this dream has been evolving, there are many different aspects and symbolism in this dream that has kind of changed as we've gotten the interpretations. But I wanted to share what the interpretations were originally, because some of that will still probably come into play. Once we get through that, I'd like to go ahead and touch on some scripture as well. And then I'd like to tell you a little bit about what the Lord told me personally regarding some of this. So I'm not sure, it may take more than one video to get through this dream. If it does, I'll try and contain it down to the least amount of them I possibly can. Excuse me. So with that being said, let's just go ahead and get started. In my dream, when I first recognized that I was having this dream, I was being called by someone to follow them. And they were going to show me the children that wanted to speak with me. Now, I didn't know who the children were, and I had not met them that I was aware of. I had not met them before. I cannot recall who I was following, but I seemed to know this person. Now, I do not recall seeing this person, and the way through the trees I was unfamiliar with, but they seemed to know the way. So as I was coming up through the trees, through this forest, I was coming from this direction, headed toward the water. On my right was the person that I was actually following. I, again, never saw this person. I just knew who this person was, and I was following them. It seemed as though I was going through some pretty thick forest back behind where we were. And then I'm questioning, were we in a house? We were in something. but I cannot recall that part of the dream. So this area that we were coming up through this way, coming toward the water, even though this looks like a single tree line, I was actually coming through some pretty thick forest, making my way to the water's edge here. I'm not sure about the house, but it did seem as though we were going through the back side of the property. Now, as I came toward the water's edge on this side, I was making my way through these trees, I heard the voices of the children before I saw them. So I heard them. I knew they were there, but I couldn't see them through the forest yet. And so when I approached, I noticed that they were across a wide body of water on the other side of the banks, going through some trees too. So as I'm making my way to the forest here, I can start to see them, and they're over here somewhere, and they're making their way through these trees over here. This is where they're headed. And they're peeking through the trees looking at me because they know I'm coming. But I can hear them. It's like kids, you know, you can tell them to be quiet. Shh, be quiet, be quiet. And you know that's when they can't even contain themselves to a whisper. So it was like I heard them. I heard them giggling, and I heard them over there. I heard them. They knew I was coming, and so they were coming through these trees, and they were looking back at me. And so as I got closer to the water's edge, I noticed that they had gotten into the water and they were making their way toward me. So they got into the water somewhere over here, and they were just coming, making their way toward me. And as they made that straight line, they just came right in front of me right here. Now there were two of them, and they had branches in both of their hands, like tree branches. I didn't recognize what kind of branches they were. They appeared to be the same type of branch. It didn't look like one was a pine tree and one was a palm leaf or anything like that. They looked similar. They just looked like tree branches. As they came across the water, and I'm questioning, is this a wide river? But as they came across the water toward me, I tried to get as close to the edge as possible, and I seemed to be holding on to something leaning way out over the water. So I was on this side of the bank of this water, and I had grabbed a hold of something so that I could lean my body out over this water. I looked back to see what I was holding onto, and I noticed my left hand was on a thorny type of slim tree, and that's what this is. There were several there that were larger, but I grabbed the most narrow one, around about 1 inch to 1.5 inches in diameter. It must have been young, as it was very narrow, and I knew in the dream that the thorns would still be soft, not hardened with time yet. Now guys, don't ask me how I knew that. I don't know how I knew that, but I knew that. And so I don't recall looking at these thorny things before grabbing it. I just realized I had grabbed it and leaned my body out over the water. I was trying to get closer. I guess I was trying to get closer to the children. I'm not real sure. So I returned my gaze back to the children coming across the water, and as they got closer, I recognized that they were black girls, pre or young teen age, and I would say somewhere around 10 or so. And but I'm making a note here because I said, I think at first when they were on the banks coming across the water, they were younger. I was thinking when I heard them giggling and peeking through the trees and making their way to where they would come into the water, I just sensed that they were younger at that time. And as they've come across the water, they got a little bit older up until about, and I figured that their age was somewhere around 10 or so. When they got in front of me, they had huge smiles on their faces. I mean, it was like, when kids, when kids, when they have a surprise for you, they can't hardly contain themselves. They just got to bust it out or bust out and just, give it to you. And so that's the look that these kids had on their faces. So they got situated in the water right in front of me and began to do what they came to do. So there was a purpose. They were coming across this water to do exactly what they were getting ready to do. And with all four arms out of the water holding the branches, they started singing. Now they were singing in their language, which was, I didn't understand the language. It was a foreign language to me. But they were singing with huge smiles on their faces. And as I watched them and listened to them singing, I started to notice that they were singing to me. I recognized their body movements and things of that nature seemed to identify that they were singing to me. So what they were saying to me. And I thought, I don't know this language. And so I listened a little bit more intently to the words to see if I could recognize any of them. And one word I did catch, and I thought, I think I know what that word means. I think it means beautiful. Beautiful. And as I was listening more, I recognized that they were calling me beautiful. And I noticed that then they were singing to me. I think I was just realizing it was being revealed to me as I was standing there. Now, one of the girls had braces on her teeth. This one here had braces on her teeth. So I don't know what happened at that point. I don't know if I got into the water, if I let go of the thorny tree, or what happened. But somehow I was in the water right here. And what I was doing was I had this basket right in front of me. And I was trying to get it adjusted in the water somehow. I'm not sure. It was like a long rectangular basket, and I tried to remember the color of it, but that just escaped me. The size of this basket was about the size of 2 hand-carrying grocery baskets, like when you go to the grocery store, not the cart, but like the hand-carrying basket. If you put these baskets end to end, that was about the size and length of this basket. So it wasn't a very small one. It was, a pretty decent sized basket. And so I don't know what I was doing with it in the water, but I was trying to get it adjusted in the water. And as I was doing that, that's when I woke up from the dream. So guys, I don't have enough time on this video to go ahead and read the interpretations, but I think in the next one I will. But that is the dream in a nutshell, and that was the one that I had on January the 7th of 2017. I think you can see that it does have quite a bit of symbolism in it, and I really feel like this dream is significant, especially since we've been in Isaiah 4 and Isaiah 11 in a lot of our studies concerning the rod and the branch of Jesse. I would like to go ahead and just end this video now, and then we'll pick it up on the next one with the interpretations. Thank you guys. God bless you.